another snowstorm day here in New York, but I am prepared today. I have decided that I'm going to bake all day. There are a few items you need before you start baking. First, you need to have the proper attire on. I, for one, am donning my leave the gun, take the cannoli apron. It's important to protect yourself from all that flour. The second thing you need is adequate entertainment. I decided to forego the TV today and listen to music instead. For instance, right now, Too Shy is playing by Kangaroo. That's right, I got my 80s mix on. And last but not least, the third thing you need while doing any sort of activity in the kitchen is a glass of wine. I prefer red over white, but that's not to say I don't drink white as well. Anyway, enough about that, let's get down to business. So, hold on. Good stuff. Okay. To make Italian wedding cookies, you need a few ingredients, and actually it's pretty simple. First, you need 3 sticks of butter, or a cup and a half. Make sure it's softened in that room temperature because you're going to have to cream it before adding the other ingredients. The other ingredients you'll need are flour, 3/4 of a cup of confectionery sugar, and a 1/4 cup of confectionery sugar for rolling when you're done, a cup and a half of either chopped or slivered almonds, depending your choice, some salt, and some vanilla extract. Once you have these ingredients, you can begin to put them together. So, we're going to start by creaming the butter, which I have already brought to room temperature and softened. Some people prefer to cube up the butter because it helps soften it quicker and it's easier to mash. That's perfectly fine as well. I did not do that. So now that my butter is creamed, I'm going to take my confectionery sugar and add it in. I'm also going to need 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. It's funny, you know, they don't make 3/4 teaspoons. They only make either half, quarter, full. So I'm just going to take my half here, throw that in, take my 1/4 teaspoon, throw that in, and we're good to go. Okay, and so we're back with that. The next thing to do is add your almonds, again, a cup and a half, throw them in there nice, and then you have to add 4.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And let's go ahead and start adding our flour. It's okay to do this in stages because you kind of want to get it nice and mixed, and at the same time, I mean, you know what happens as soon as you put that flour in, it starts to poof up and get all over you, which kind of really sucks because then that's a huge mess to clean up. So I just kind of like to fold it in like this. You can use a wooden spoon if you want to. I just happen to be using a smaller one. So we're going to go ahead and keep folding it in. I'm going to add a little more flour. A lot of flour, right? There's actually a chocolate chip cookie recipe that I like to make, and it calls for a lot of flour as well. But these chocolate chip cookies, when I do them, they are so thick and delicious, people will go crazy for them. So once we have that done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to fashion our cookies. I think I'm going to do mine a little on the larger side. This recipe actually could yield about 80 cookies if you do them on the smaller side. If you do like a teaspoon or a tablespoon size cookie. But I'm going to go ahead and do larger ones. I'm going to start by rolling it into a nice ball, and then I'm going to flatten it out this way and make it more of an oval. And I'm just going to place that right on my ungreased cookie sheet. Don't grease your cookie sheet for these. And I'm just going to continue like this. Like I said, pop them in the oven for about 15 minutes and watch them a little bit. I tell you what, I love a nice Italian wedding cookie with a cup of coffee or a cappuccino. So delicious. And then the powdered sugar at the end, oh my God, talk about yummy. There's a bakery in the Bronx that makes these really good. It's called DeLillo Pastry. It's right on 187th Street between Arthur Avenue and Hughes Avenue. They have a pretty wide variety of cookies too there, and other pastries. Some nice coffee, cappuccinos, things like that. You can get some really nice cannolis on Arthur Avenue too if you go to Artuso Pastry. Great meats, cheeses, and olives and such like that at Title Brothers on Arthur Avenue. You seriously could go there and just get all your grocery shopping for a couple great evenings at home with your honey, or if you're having a party. Really just a fantastic place to go shopping. If you go inside the retail market, you'll find tons of fresh produce, and also my friend's mother's store, Mount Carmel Gourmet. She sells a wide variety of Italian imported olive oils and pastas, things of that nature. And then again, if you leave the market and go back out onto Hughes Avenue, walk up to 187th and go right onto 187th, you can end up at Borgatti Ravioli, which has the most outstanding cheese raviolis you will ever have had the pleasure of tasting. I basically serve those at any party I have, whether I serve them in a sauce or fry them and serve them with a dipping sauce, it all depends. So we have filled one sheet, all set to go in the oven. See? Those are going to be some nice, huge cookies. I'm going to throw them in for 15 minutes. So, when those are done cooking, I'll be back. We are back. Our cookies are now out of the oven. They're cooled slightly. So now the next stage would be to roll them in some confectionery sugar. I personally like to do it in a bowl. That's just my own particular style. But what you're going to do is you're going to take one of the cookies, nice and soft, and just kind of put it in the confectionery sugar, like so. Toss it around a little bit if you want. You really want to pick up the confectionery sugar there. Okay, you can go like that. Add a little bit over. Okay, yum, delish. You want to do this a little bit delicately. And then you're going to place it on your cookie rack to cool. And again, take another cookie, throw it in your confectionery sugar, and top it off with a little spoon if you want to there. You just want to get these nice and coated. Again, you want to be a little delicate because, you know, the cookies are still warm. So you want to make sure that you don't break the cookie. But you also want to make sure that you have a generous amount of confectionery sugar on the cookie. And you just continue like that. Let them cool, and once they're cooled, you can enjoy them. So I'll see you back when I'm done doing all of the cookies, and we'll see what we have to offer.